Heidi, thank you very much for joining me today. Can you tell everyone who never heard about your business, what is it and what are you helping people with?
So my business is called Ground Your Groove, and I'm all about helping people navigate that kind of, is this really it moment that a lot of people experience. Often people in their kind of 20s or 30s when they are doing like a 9 to 5 job. Someone will come to me because they would like support in navigating reaching their goals, and they just want something more for their life, but they don't really know how to get it or what's possible for them. So I coach people through navigating that whole phase of life.
Do you think it's easy for everyone to find what they want to do in life?
I don't think I can answer that as like a yes or no question. I think it's very nuanced, and I think it's definitely easier for some people than it is for others. And if you think about like the people that you grew up around or like your friends or family, like I think most people probably know someone who's just always had like that one thing that was always going to be their thing and has kind of just like stuck to that. And then I think there's other people who go through a much more kind of squiggly journey with it, and it can be a bit more difficult. I'm not necessarily someone that believes like everyone has like one purpose and one passion and then they pursue that forever. I think like I'm a very like multi-passionate person. I have lots of different interests and things, and that's why it's taken me a bit of time to figure out which one of those I want to pursue as a career and trying to like merge them all together into one thing in a way. I think that it's really nuanced and it's really dependent on the person, which I know is probably a really annoying answer.
You are totally right. There is no one answer for everyone and everyone is different, right? Everyone's brain is totally different. So is there any belief in your industry that you fundamentally disagree with?
I think in the coaching space, I think there can be misconceptions that coaches are positioned as like an expert to provide advice to people. And that's something that not how I see coaching. Like I don't position myself as a coach in a way to, I'm going to solve your problems. It's I'm going to help you to be the one to solve your problems. It's all about personal responsibility and empowering people to do the work so that I don't want someone to ever be reliant on me forever to be able to navigate what they're going through. Whether that's a good, business model or not, but that doesn't feel like I'm doing them the best, my clients the best service if I am holding information so that they have to come to me for information. As a coach, I see my responsibility as empowering them, challenging them when they're buying into their limiting beliefs, helping them to see what's possible for them and discover that for themselves.
You like sort of like a parent who gonna hold them for a second and give them all of the stuff they need, the knowledge that they need. So further you can actually release them to the world and make sure that they can take care of themselves by themselves.
I guess so. The one thing I would challenge about that analogy is that I don't feel like I wouldn't want to frame it as like I'm releasing them. Like
Okay.
they will come to me because just having an external person to notice these things and help you to start being an observer to your internal world, that means that when you create change and you create change to accomplish your goals, you are doing that from a place of wholeness and a place of you have all the information within you, not from a place of like out of fear and like chasing something because you think you need it and like the kind of scarcity mindset. Yeah, so it's really a lot of it about the inner work and being an observer for people to mirror their own inner world and how that's holding them back from their goals. You have someone to help question, is that thought really true? Investigate for yourself, is that thought really true? Is that a belief that you're buying into, or is that a concrete truth?
Do you think that self-talk is important in that kind of journey of, becoming aware?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the way that we talk to ourselves is, I would argue, in my experience, the biggest indicator of the trajectory of our lives. I think it's so important. When you look at how someone talks to themselves, that's the voice that's running the autopilot as well. So everything that you do is running on negative self-talk, if that's your default set point. When you start to change that, when you start to change your relationship to those inner voices and to that inner critic, and start having more compassion, everything changes. There's not one area of your life that doesn't touch. So I think it's very powerful.
How did you get to that point where you realized, okay, I can do that. I can help people with their lives. I can help people make sure that they're feeling happier, that they actually like doing what they do.
And so a few years ago, I was in quite a dark place, struggling a lot with anxiety and insomnia as well, and just living every day feeling quite guilty about my what I labeled as lack of productivity at the time, and feeling like I was just like this lazy person who was not had anything going for myself, and was just kind of feeling sorry for myself a lot. And looking back, I have a lot of compassion for myself at that time. I think everyone at that stage in life, and a lot of people at any stage in life, like, we're constantly navigating change and transition, whether it's through personal circumstances, family, society changes, and even physical changes as we go through different stages of life. And I think it's totally okay to have times that are just difficult, and you're just I just need to be and absorb this change, and then decide from there where to go. And I think that's where I was at the time, but I just ended up feeling very guilty about it, which spiraled me into this state of just quite poor mental and physical health. Then going on my own transformational journey with my health, and really using that as kind of my medicine, and finding it so empowering to know that I can really rely on myself and support myself in getting through those difficult times.
How did you fix it though? How did you get to that point where you realize that you can do it, that you are capable of change?
I was doing some freelance work as a sound engineer at the time, and I worked at the London podcast show a few years ago, and it was this guy who's quite big in the UK now, Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. He just really, some of the things he said really resonated with me, and he really had this kind of presence where he was so calm, and almost it felt like he'd made the whole room feel this sense of calm, and you're held, and it's okay kind of thing. And one of the things that he said that really struck me was he simply asked, when was the last time that you just sat in silence with no external inputs, literally yourself, your thoughts, nothing else? And it sounds like such a simple question, but at that point in time, I had this realization that I could not remember the last time that I'd done that. And I remember going and speaking to someone else that I was working with at the time afterwards, and said to her, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I've just realized that I've never done this. This is a route. This means something to me. This is a really simple way that I can start kind of taking some small moments to be the catalyst of change in my life. And that really was a catalyst for me, and that was the moment that I kind of discovered that, and it's been a squiggly but generally upwards journey from there.
Well, yeah, I can imagine that sense. From the moment you figured that first step, it was down the road, it was much easier to figure out the rest of them. What have changed in your life since you heard that conversation a few years ago, and how your approach to yourself really have changed in comparison to what it was before it?
The biggest thing is just like, I'm so much kinder to myself. I have so much more compassion for myself and patience, and I still struggle at times. There's still a lot of times where my inner critic comes up, but the way that I respond to that now versus 5 years ago it's like night and day. I never would have thought that I could see myself in the way that I do now and actually be able to talk about myself in like a positive light and back myself enough to start a business, which ultimately you have to back yourself if you're starting a business, right?
Well, you 100% need to believe in yourself. How long have you been building your business? How that experience has been for you?
I've never learned so much about myself in a period of time.
Okay, yeah.
I think anyone who starts a business are almost forced into that space that I was talking about earlier, where you have no inputs. You have to think of ideas. You have to confront your failures, right? You have to rely completely on yourself, and there aren't many things that teach you about yourself more than that. And I think that self-knowledge is such a powerful asset, and I already thought I was very self-aware and was in a good place, and it just shows there's always more. Yeah. It's a journey that never ends.
A journey of starting the business is ups and downs.
Yeah.
So did you have downs already?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've definitely had downs. I've had times where marketing's just not worked, or I've invested money into stuff and there haven't been results from it, and I've questioned who do I think I am doing this? Like, what the hell am I doing? I've had a lot of those thoughts. Yeah, for sure. And like I still do now. I'll have days where I feel like overwhelmed by everything, and yeah, I think I'm human. I definitely have times where it's difficult.
What is your goal in the next month to 3 that you want to achieve?
My focus at the moment is just increasing my one-to-one client offering, just focusing a lot of my energy onto that, trying to serve more one-to-one clients. And part of the process of doing that, to start sharing more about my work and reaching more people, is that I'm actually going to be launching a podcast as well, which I'm very excited about. I've been putting it off for a while because I keep changing my mind about what direction I want to go with it. But I've finally been more committal about it in the last couple of weeks. So that will be launching in June, which I'm very excited about.
If you could ask anyone in the world to help you with anything to grow your business, what would you ask for?
I think it would have to be, because it feels like this was where everything kind of started for me, it would have to be going on Dr. Chatterjee's podcast.
And how that would help you?
It would help me by, first, he has a massive audience, so it would get my name out there a lot.
Okay, yeah.
And then I would also just love to have a conversation with him. So it would help me not just through like business purposes, which I'm sure it would be a massive help for, but also just for my own kind of personal gratification.
If you could go back 8 months with the same knowledge that you have at the moment, how would you do stuff differently, or what would you tell to yourself to change?
So I don't think I would change anything. I think the thing that I would say to myself is just the most powerful thing is going to be your own transformation through this, and that's what's going to make you a better coach. So focus, enjoy that. Just enjoy that.
Enjoy the journey. Imagine that you are a president of the world and you can change one thing. What that would be?
I think if there was a way to help every person in the world develop more self-compassion, I think that the world would be an entirely different place.
It would be. It would be. Heidi, thank you very much for joining me today and for sharing your story with me. I hope you enjoyed that conversation and answering those easy and those tough questions as well. What I usually do is I meet with founders after 6 to 8 months to see their progress and talk about all of the challenges that they encounter or all of the successes that they have done. So yeah, thank you very much. And I hope I'm gonna see you in the next 6 to 8 months.